Are you ready to take the Colin Kaepernick challenge? Then come on down. You guys have seen Kaepernick in the news over the last week or so. He doesn't want to stand up for the national anthem. He says that's because black people are relentless victims of relentless white racism all the time, everywhere. That explains everything, especially why cops are always picking on black people for no reason whatsoever. He's not down with that. You know, on this channel, we document a lot of black on cop hostility. So much so, some people call it the war on cops. Well, when we talk about that, we remind people the war on cops is really a proxy war. Black, not just black on cops, but it's really aimed at black on white racism. And the war on black on white racism is a proxy war for the war on white racists, and that is you. And we saw that in action yesterday when Sean King, the racially ambiguous columnist at the New York Daily News, but he's not ambiguous because he's not black. He says he is, but he's not. He's the racially deceitful columnist for the New York Daily News, you know, the paper nobody will buy even for $1. Anyway, so Sean King writes a column yesterday about two white supremacists that killed a black person yesterday in the Northwest, might have been Oregon. Proof positive that white people are always messing with black people and killing them and hurting them and doing all these bad things to them for no reason whatsoever. So Kaepernick saw the column, he retweeted it because he's down with that cause. He knows that white people are always doing bad things to black people, and they're hiring cops just to do it for them. This, of course, is a fairy tale. This, of course, is part of the greatest lie of our generation, the hoax of black victimization, which I document in that scintillating bestseller, Don't Make the Black Kids Angry. Okay, so let's put this in football terms that even Kaepernick can understand. You know, before a football game, they usually have a panel of 3 or 4 guys, right? And they're sitting there arguing about their teams. No, the Chargers are going to win. No, the Niners, Chargers, Niners. And they get all hot and bothered about it. Until finally the moderator comes in and says, you know, we're just going to have to play the game. I mean, that's how you settle differences in football. You play the game. So you, Colin Kaepernick, why don't you and I play a game? We'll play the black versus white murder game. Here's how it works. You get the whole country. You get the whole country. I'll take a little sliver, say San Francisco. We'll compare black on white in the whole country versus black. We'll compare white on black in the whole country, your bet, versus black on white, just say the San Francisco Bay Area. We'll see who has the most. I mean, that should be an easy bet, right? I just get a tiny little sliver up there in San Francisco. You get the whole enchilada. Doesn't have to be San Francisco. I mean, it doesn't even have to be black on white. I'll tell you what. It could be black on Asian in San Francisco. So we'll compare black on Asian murder in San Francisco to white on black murder in the whole country. How about that? Doesn't even have to be San Francisco. We can go to any of the NFL cities, the metro area and any NFL city. The only reason I want to put that 50-mile rider in there is because, you know, one of your clever boys might come up and whisper to you and say, hey, let's choose Green Bay. That's a really tiny town. So if you expand it, we'll bring Milwaukee into that. You can choose any metro area you want. If you chose Phoenix and San Francisco, you know, it might be a little bit competitive. It won't be a 200-0 blowout. It'll probably be more like, in football terms, probably more like 52-3. We don't have to do a metro area. We can just choose another little slice of the country. Why don't we choose white on black murders versus black on white old ladies over the age of 65. So you can have the whole country white on black. I'll take this little old lady 65 and over that are victims of black murder. Actually, a lot of them going around. I mean, we could do a lot more. We put a couple up this week. Just a couple weeks ago down in Augusta, Georgia. The little lady, 83 years old, is in her home. 5 black people burst in, beat her up, broke her arm, broke her fingers, broke bones in her face, then left. Then they came back and set her on fire. Took her 2 weeks to die. Huntsville, Alabama, same thing happened, minus the fire, minus the 2 weeks. They just killed her. She's dead. So there's a lot of that. And there's a lot of black and white murder in San Francisco. I just saw this. Somebody just sent this to me this morning. It happened like 3 years ago, but it took 3 years to get a verdict. A couple of the fellas meet up with a couple of the white girls, take them out in the car. Everybody's 16 or 15. There's an argument. You want to know what the argument was about? One of the fellas gets a phone call from another one of his girlfriends. He asks the two white girls in the back seat if they could step out of the car while he takes the call. For some reason, they didn't want to do that. He gets out of the car, pulls one out. She punches him. He gets his gun, kills her, then kills her friend. His lawyer said we should take pity on him because we should take into consideration his childhood, the fact that his parents were drug users, the fact that he was a drug user, Your Honor. Can't you see that? I mean, that's the way they roll in San Francisco. We see that in the papers all the time. I mean, we just saw it the other day. This is like a famous case in San Francisco. A county supervisor, somebody just runs up to him and steals his phone. A black person runs up, steals his phone, runs away. They ended up catching her. There's a huge story in the San Francisco Chronicle. It says, the cell phone case, good example of the intersection of race and crime. Then there's a huge picture of this black woman who stole the phone, and her attorney. And the attorney is saying what I just said. It's like, Your Honor, we have to remember the deprived background of this client. She never had a chance. That's why she stole the phone. I mean, you can keep the first part of that, then just use the last clause for a fill in the blank. That's why she stole the phone. That's why he killed the girls. That's why, whatever you want. You notice when those two white people killed that black kid up in the Northwest, you notice nobody came out and said, well, the white people probably have psychological problems. No, probably 600 years ago, their relatives had a jam of some kind. No, nobody's saying that. People are saying if they killed a person, they deserve whatever they get. We ask people to take responsibility. See, that's what you're trying to do, Colin. You're doing the opposite of that. That's what I say. You would disagree. That's why we're going to do the challenge. So let's make the challenge interesting. However we slice it and dice it, I'm just going to have a tiny little sliver of the country, 1 or 2% at most. You can have the whole thing. And all you have to do is show white versus black people. White people are killing more black people than black people are killing whatever tiny little slice that I take. Easy. So let's make it interesting. Let's put a wager on it. I see you in I see you in some of the Jaguar ads. That they're your sponsor. You're out front on your you're out front kissing your biceps in front of your nice red Jag. I don't know why they chose you as a spokesman, but that's the way things are.
My instant reaction when someone tells me I can't do something is I'm gonna go out and do it just to prove them wrong. Every day I step on the field, every day I go to workouts, I want to make sure that everybody that ever doubted me, they can't have doubts. I want to get to a level where people look at me and they say, well, there's really not flaws in his game. Keeping my family first is something that is very important to me, as well as staying close to the friends that I've had for a long time. Those are the people that are going to help you stay grounded. How you doing, man?
Right.
Good to see you. I would say my style is like a chameleon. I try to switch it up from time to time, keep people guessing. First time in his new shop. It's nice in here. Got everything looking good.
When people find out I cut Cap's hair, it's weird. They're like, you really cut his hair? People think that because an athlete, they're not normal. He's just like everyone else. He just wants to play football and enjoy his life.
Keeping the individuality is huge. I don't want to change who I am. I want to change what I do because of the popularity I have now. I'll see you next week.
All right, man. Good luck.
For me, I want to stay the same person I was before I stepped on that field.
Okay, we'll bet your Jag, I think it's red. I used to have a Jag, loved it. Don't have it anymore. Now I just have a Ford Explorer. I like it, but it's been a couple years since that thing rolled off the showroom floor new, if you catch what I mean. So why don't we just bet straight up? Deal? If any of you guys want to tweet this to Colin or to Sean King, feel free to do so. Or you want to post it somewhere, that's fine. Maybe he'll hear about it, maybe he won't. Regardless, this is even more important than the bet. If you're at a shopping center, if you're at a football game, if you're at a mall, if you're at home, if you're at your parents' house, if you're out with your kids, or doing 100 other activities, whatever Colin Kaepernick says, whatever Sean King says, I beg you to hear the truth of this. Don't make the black kids angry.